Continuing here. I didn't plan on getting into this big spiel about my life in the last 30 or so years. Over 30 years now. 3 decades. That's a significant amount of time. But listen, it all has a happy ending because at this point in my life, I can look back and say, you know what? I've had a good life. It hasn't been easy, but I've had a good life. I've never been a rich man. I've struggled financially my whole life, but I've had a good life. And the biggest component to my life being good in retrospect is inviting a relationship with my owner, who I spent far too much of my life when I was younger not really having a proper relationship with my owner, which is the Creator God Almighty. So the best advice I can give everyone is to understand that truth. I don't know how else to put it, but I really do not believe that I could have coped and contended and come out of this storm that I've been through for a significant portion of my life, feeling grateful, feeling compunction for others that don't feel grateful, wanting everybody to have a better lot in life than myself, knowing that is the key to happiness. All these things are good things that were put in my heart and in my mind, in my spirit, and in my soul from above. It's a mystery. It's a miracle. It's God Almighty. It's that personal relationship. When you know nobody understands, okay? The entire system is tainted with madness. It's rife. It's imbued with madness. And the reason is because the people at the very top of the perverted pyramid of power are tainted. They're bad actors. They're mean people. The term is evil. They are, euphemism is, the sociopath. It's just a sociopath. Sounds innocuous enough, doesn't it? These are people that don't value their conscience. Doesn't that scare just everybody? And just a godly instinct comes over people when you say, "What do you don't have any bounds?" You understand? How serious that is. That's big. That's a big deal. But we live in a world, in this supposedly civilized society, and all these laws, more coming up every day. But there's a lack of laws here where it's glaringly obvious we need laws. How are any of us sane? It's because God's grace. A lot of people are walking around, I swear. And I was doing this, I'm guilty of this too. They don't even know that it's the grace of God that's getting them through life. His amazing grace. How do you think you got that name? Amazing grace. That when you tap into the spirit of truth, it's as good as you can imagine, and then infinitely better. You see, isn't that encouraging? Isn't that comforting? Isn't that refreshing to know as a fact? Hey, everything I've asked God for, okay, hands down, it has not come to fruition. I've been asking God for my wife back. People are encouraging me in church and this and friends, and well, maybe, but and nobody, because nobody knows. I'm trying to talk to human beings that are just like me. We're all kind of lost in space. It's like for a long, long, long time. I can remember myself reciting this to family and friends. I felt like a little boy lost in a big city. That was my paradigm. I'm scared. I'm insecure. I'm vulnerable. I'm fragile, and I'm still kind of that same person. But I take it to God, and I know that when I take my last breath, I know who I'm going to care about, whose opinion I'm going to care about. Okay, and that is my owner. That is none less than the Creator God Almighty. And so the best advice at the end of the day I can give everybody is have a relationship with your owner. That's the Creator God Almighty. Invite the Spirit of truth into your life. I mean, this business about being born again, yeah, I've been baptized in my church, and they call that being born again. And hey, but I have never met anybody that's, quote, born again that hasn't sinned again. Okay? It's the nature of the beast. It's the carnal nature, and it's at war with the spiritual nature. Our spirit wants to soar with the eagles, okay? But our carnal nature wants to drag us down into the gutter. It's that simple. Why does this paradigm exist? Well, you'd have to go back to the origins in the Bible, the beginning of time. And I would like to get into that, but before I do, I want to finish up what I was talking about, and that has to do with my daughters and looking after them like a hawk. And I'm very glad I did. I'm very glad that my daughters respect me to this day, and they understand. The more they live and learn, the more they understand what a rare bird their dad is. That listen, there's a lot of guys out there that don't know that they're sponging off the grace of God. And they will learn. They will learn. God has a way of making sure they understand where they've gotten their comfort from, who has encouraged them. It is that very loving force within us. It's the one that we feel when we meet somebody and we like them. That doesn't happen all the time, does it? Because people are in such modes. We get that dark cloud, right, that comes over us. We get an attitude. We get a spirit, right? And it's a funky one. It happens to me all the time. I mean, I drive in my car. It's like, how did I get in this mood? I don't remember me being in this mood when I left the house, but here it is. But you're out there on the highway, no matter if it's city streets or the freeway, it's all the same. It's a gladiatorial arena. Okay, there's people on all sorts of drugs out there. I mean, they're doing meth. And you're going to go out and compete with these people? Okay, I mean, on the public highway? I mean, what would the highway patrol have to say about that? But you see, it's easy for anybody to get into that mode. It's like a disease. It's like a contagious disease. It's like demons hopping around, and they're all trying to hop into us. And you see, this brings back my consistent affirmation, revelation, proclamation that we need God. We need God. Without God, I'm a dead duck. Okay? It's as simple as that. We can't count on society. It's supposed to make sense. We desperately want it all to make sense. We want to make sense with the legislators. There are politicians and bureaucrats, and they're working for us, whether they be quasi, proxy, subcontractors. I mean, everybody's on our side. We're trying to make progress here and get along together in this civilized society. And I mean, we're supposed to assume it's getting better and better, more and more civilized, and we're treating each other more and more kindly and sensitively. But you look around you and you, oh my God. So this is the subject matter I really get into here. Is I want to inject economic understanding of this situation that affects our lives in every way and in a very profound degree and involved in the minutiae of our life. All the organic stuff that we all have to deal with across the board, we can handle that. That's a big deal, just to handle the organic stuff we have to go through as human beings. Death. Does it get more trying? We all have to face that. We all should give everyone a huge, deep degree, profound degree of respect, empathy, compassion, if that's what you want. I mean, you're dealing with that. You're courageous by God's forcing you to be. We don't have a choice about this. We have to accept being courageous because it's scary as hell for everybody. It's hard, and especially with what we're going through at this point in history, this is crazy, man. It's an absolute madhouse. I don't believe this. I don't believe anybody believes you can prevent germs. Germs get around, man. Come on. Come on, everybody. I don't care if you're the biggest stickler for masks and gloves and wiping stuff down. You've come in contact with germs that could have been laden with coronavirus. They get around, man. They're in the air. For God's sake, for all we know, they're spraying this stuff in the atmosphere. They've been spraying the atmosphere anyhow. They call it geoengineering, weather modification to help prevent climate change, what Mother Nature is doing naturally. They're going to circumvent, usurp, hijack Mother Nature. They're smarter, these elitists, and spray the skies. Well, they won't talk about it on TV, but the information's widely available online. And yeah, everybody knows. It's just like duh at this point. Yeah, they've been doing this for for decades. They've been doing this. Okay, not every day. I've seen months go by where there's no spraying. But I've seen months go by when they do. They could turn a perfectly deep blue sky into a milky white crap, depressing crap at the end of the day. I've seen that. Everybody has experienced it, whether you look up in the sky or not. They haven't all been contrails. You're an idiot or a liar or deceived. Delusional if you believe that. So, but they've had this surreptitious, clandestine, diabolical program going on right under our noses. I mean, it's just surreal. It's bizarro world. It's foreboding. It's like, how on earth can they not talk about this fact and make guys like me look like I'm crazy on the news and the mainstream media? They're not going to talk about this. And then these people are peddling this trash. And just this morning, I got to hear the local reporter talk about, quoting Zillow, oh, housing prices are remaining stable in all this. The only thing that is, I mean, nobody's lives are stable. Everybody's income's disrupted. And it's like, oh, gee, you know what? Everything's great with the housing market, especially the high-end stuff. I mean, they don't want to touch it, man. It's only good if prices are going up, if the worth of your housing dollars are going down. But apparently there's all these flush people from Wall Street, the stock market, and all this crap. So there's a lot of people that wealth imbalance is growing. There's still a lot of very wealthy people in America, but they're getting less and less. You understand? So it's like getting more and more etched in stone, that division, that disparity, that imbalance between the haves and have-nots. They're just turning America. They're just like all these other Latin American leaders. They're just turning America into a third, fourth world country. They want to impoverish us, okay? And then when you discover that and you call them on it, you know what there are. Even though they won't correlate the two, but the economics and climate change, saving the planet, is what it's all about. So if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, they want to get rid of about 7+ billion people at this point. That the earth can really, they feel, only sustain 500 million. That's according to the Georgia Guidestones, these huge granite monuments that are set up in the state of Georgia. So, I mean, I'm not making anything up. These people are in your face basically showing you this stuff. And all I feel is a nebulous blob of madness, of just meanness and hatred and evil and vileness and darkness and putridness and everything abominable. Okay, and that's who these people represent. That's who they are. Remember, they don't care about soul. They mock God. They defy God. They detest God. Okay, they rebel. And that's who they are. They're defiant toward God. They say, you know what? I'm sorry, but you gave me life, and I'm going to take it for granted. And I'm going to do my own thing. And I mean, it's just satanic. It's just demonic. There's just no explanation for a sane person to understand the mind of these madmen, these monsters, the money masters of misery, these grand puppeteers, the kingpins, the masterminds, the head honchos, the grand poobahs, whatever the hell you want to call them. You know the group I'm talking about. Look into the Bilderberger group. I'm not saying all the attendees are bad. That's not at all what I'm saying. That you got to look at, you got to do your own research. If you care about knowing the truth of these things I'm saying, look into it. Okay, some of these people are unabashed Satanists. Do you understand the implications? So what I'm saying is very valid. This is a real battle between good and evil, and we're all experiencing it in our own members, our bodies, our hearts, and our minds, our spirits. So we're all affected profoundly, and it doesn't help to deny it. We need God more, and we got to tell each other we need God. We need to pray. We look. Some people love you so much. Okay, people that are strangers, people in the military, in law enforcement, that lay their lives on the line for you every day. There's nothing more noble of character that could be shown you. They do. They love you. They really, 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 really do, as much as they can possibly love.